We're back at Legion Field here in Birmingham, and it's the 70th confrontation. Alabama and Tennessee. There have been 7 ties, starting with the first one back in 1901. Johnny Majors, the head coach at Tennessee, 52 years of age. He's in his 11th year as the head coach of the Volunteers, the 20th year as a head coach overall after stints at Iowa State, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and of course Pittsburgh. He won the national championship with the Panthers back in 1976. And Bill Curry, who will be 45 years of age next Wednesday. Bill in his first year at Alabama, and of course the spirit here at Alabama, they had, Kevin, 32,000 for the Alabama game in spring practice.
That's a tough place to coach for anybody. Bill's gotten off first to a great start against Penn State, beating a team easily that they thought would be a real dogfight. And then, of course, last week the problem with Memphis State. Alabama is not like other teams and other places to coach in the country. It's a very difficult place. The fans are into this. They watch your every move, and you need to be successful at Alabama.
There is number 35, Kerry Good, who averages just under 18 yards. Bobby Humphrey was number 26. And they're on their feet here at Legion Field. It is a sea of orange and white and crimson and white. The kick is a line drive kick into the end zone where Humphrey will go down on one knee. So let's meet the Crimson Tide offensively.
Pressure on for the young man, Jeff Dunn. He's only tried 7 passes this year, but they like him. They say he's a good one. Heisman candidate, Bobby Humphrey. He's having a big year. He's a tremendous player. And Allen, a good blocker. The receivers, they need to get into this game. Cross, a great blocker, an excellent receiver. They have to get the ball to these guys. The tackles, Bentley and Chapman, very talented Chapman, but raw, and the middle three, Condon is a great player, Rose maybe the best.
Allen is the fullback, Humphrey in the tail of the tandem as Jeff Dunn, the freshman, takes the first snap. Play action fake, Dunn rolls to the right, pulls it back down. A pickup of 2, second down and 8, tackled by Mike Kelly as we meet the Volunteers defensively.
And anchoring that middle three, Brian Hunt. He's a big play guy. He's been out most of the year. This is a very solid front. The linebackers on the outside, Miller and Kelly, more physical than last year. Strong players. Inside, DeLong, excellent. Kelly, Ziegler, the leading tackler, a good player. Secondary, the corners, world-class speed from McDaniel. Peppers is a hitter, a little guy, and the safeties are excellent, too. It's a good defense.
Spotted at the hash mark on the right side. Same formation. Crossed wide out, bottom of your screen. Bobby Humphrey explodes across the right side. Blocking by Bill Condon and Terrell Chapman, and Keith DeLong, the junior out of Lawrence, Kansas, 6'2", 212 on the stop.
Humphrey goes into this game only 129 yards short of Johnny Musil's all-time Alabama record for rushing yardage. He's a big play guy, but a lot of the responsibility for the offense has fallen on his shoulders because the passing game has not been as good as it should be. They need to establish the passing game tonight.
And an official's timeout. The clock is stopped. We're in the first minute of play. 14-16 left to go. The ball at the 27-yard line. And a little conclave, as a Tennessee native, Lindsey Nelson would say. Jimmy Harper is our referee this evening. And this is the first night game. We talk about this being the 70th confrontation between the Crimson Tide and the Volunteers. This is the first one, Kevin, under the lights.
And it certainly didn't hurt the enthusiasm. Now, this is my first Tennessee-Alabama game in Birmingham, and these people are wild, and they are into this game.
How about the scene outside the stadium? All you could purchase are T-shirts and sweatshirts for Tennessee and Alabama, mugs, all sorts of memorabilia, and it started about 2 miles from the stadium. On 3rd and 3. Dunn, the freshman, up to the 42-yard line. Out of Greensboro, North Carolina, good speed and acceleration for the youngster, 6'1", 200 pounds, and the first down of the ball game.
And that's a great call from the Alabama coaches. Remember, a youngster, not a whole lot of passing experience. They go with the option. He decides to keep it, and he's up in that alley on the Tennessee defense. The Tennessee defense is very active. They stun a lot. If you catch them in a stunt, you can break a big play.
Whitehurst wide to the top of the screen. Battle wide left. 1st and 10 for the Crimson Tide. Caught by Howard Cross, the junior out of New Hope, Alabama, the tight end. He is 6'6" and 232.
And you never let a tight end off to the inside. That's a classic rule in football. Don't let this guy off to the inside like that. You got to jam him. Miller doesn't. It's an easy pass for the quarterback, and Bentley needs a couple of easy passes to get his confidence going. Another good call by Alabama, and great execution by the young quarterback.
Bill Curry was talking about his hands, oversized hands. He can look the ball in, but he just kind of one-hands it. Got Stickum. 2nd and 4. Doug Allen, not much doing up near the 49. Marion Hobby, the sophomore out of Irondale, Alabama, on the stop. Marion Hobby, of course, had that excellent Liberty Bowl game last year for Johnny Majors.
Talk about the Tennessee defense, the difference between the defense this year and last. Last year they had a rough time. They got manhandled by Alabama. Tide scored 58 points. They're a little more physical this year, the Volunteer defense.
Dunn will keep it. All he needs is 2 yards. He's got it. Deepest penetration inside the 45. Kelly Days, the free safety, the freshman from Dayton, made the stop. And Kevin, you've got a problem when the free safety is making a stop on the quarterback.
Well, on the option, Jim, sometimes you have to because you've got responsibilities. Great block, seal block at the corner, and then whoever had the pitch man outside turned his back. Look at the right side of your screen. He's just getting blocked into the picture. Man with the pitch guy turned his back, and Bentley was able to tuck it up and go for some yardage. Good play by the young quarterback again.
3 carries, 23 yards now for Jeff Dunn. 1st and 10 for Alabama. Dunn's first pass. Got his man at the 30. Another first down. That's Clay Whitehurst, the senior out of Nashville, Tennessee. The defender fell down. Pressure by Richard Cooper, number 77. Dunn unloaded. But Bill Curry talked about the aggressiveness, the guttiness of this young freshman. He's a fighter.
Yeah, he said he was like a linebacker, that if he threw an interception, he'd try to tear your head off on the tackle. He's that type of player. He'll come at you.
Motion by Cross. Now he lines up on the left side. There goes Humphrey. And he's down at the 27-yard line. Keith DeLong on the stop.
You watch Alabama, they like to run to the tight end, who is Cross. Now Cross trying to block Miller. Miller's got good position, gets his hands on him. He's able to get in on the tackle. What he did, he didn't really make the tackle. What he did was hold up Cross and stop him from creating too big of a hole. That was a good play by Miller.
There are the stats on Bobby Humphrey last year against Tennessee. He averages over 5 and 5.7 yards per carry this year. Penalty flag to be checked out. 11-11 left to go in quarter number 1. The Volunteers have not touched the football.
Ball start, movement in the offensive line.
So instead of 2nd and 6, it'll be 2nd and 11. There is Bill Curry, who broke out a new sweater for tonight's game.
You can see it in his eyes over there. That Memphis State loss. You know, I'd hate to play Alabama the week after they lost to a team that they felt they should have beaten. I don't care who's coaching. The fans in this state will get you up for a game, especially under those circumstances.
Stafford and Battle to the top of your screen. Dunn, second pass. Will dive down to the 32-yard line. So he loses a yard. It'll bring up 3rd and 12. Darren Miller, the senior out of Flemington, New Jersey, on the stop defensively for Tennessee.
And he had Marco Battle was clearing, running on a post pattern. He was clearing the secondary. Jeff Dunn just didn't have time to pick him out of there, but I know he'll go back and tell him. He was open deep.
Doug Allen checks in now. He sends in the play, and there are 6 defensive backs in for Tennessee. Kelly Days, Tony Nelson, Andre Kramer, Victor Peppers, Terry McDaniel, and Cedric Klein. Dunn needs 12. Incomplete or caught at the 15-yard line. They're saying Marco Battle pulled it in. An incredible catch for the sophomore out of Phoenix City, Alabama. Redshirted last year. He was a quarterback in high school. Well, he showed quarterback hands right there, Kevin, an 18-yard pickup.
Well, one quarterback to another. This ball probably shouldn't have been thrown. Look at the defense. Right in between them, Battle making a sliding grab, but the defense was just about there.
The ball at the 14-yard line of Tennessee. Epps and Cross as now the Crimson goes with a double tight end. And the Volunteers are a little bit rattled. They've asked for a timeout. 9:39 left to go. The Volunteers haven't touched the football. It's a 0-0 game in the 70th confrontation between Alabama and Tennessee. All smiles on the faces of the Crimson fans as the initial penetration now down to the 14-yard line. Good drive, and how about getting the confidence of the freshman, Jeff Dunn?
Well, absolutely, Jim. You know what I think? I think Tennessee called a timeout because they were amazed. I think they didn't expect Alabama to come out and pass as much as they did, roll out and do all these things. They thought they were going to keep it simple, and they haven't.
Cross and Epps, again, the double tights, 85 and 91 respectively for Alabama. Tennessee shows blitz, and there goes Doug Allen inside the 5. Kelly Days, the free safety again, the freshman out of Dayton on the stop, helped out by number 8, Vicar Peppers.
If you scout Alabama, you know that Doug Allen has only run the ball 12 times all year. This is his second carry in this game. He does a nice job. Sometimes the fullback can get lost in there on that quick handoff, and that's what happened to Tennessee there. They lost him. He was able to get outside. Fullback in the eye should never get outside like that.
This is the 12th play of the drive. 2nd and 1 from the 5. First down, going for the touchdown. Stacked up at the 2-yard line. Marion Hobby on his 4th solo tackle. Bobby Humphrey all the way down to the 2. It's 1st and goal.
Humphrey, the leading scorer on this team. That's no accident. He's got good blocking. His fullback tandem of Allen and Wright, considered last year the best tandem fullback combination in the country. You can look for Humphrey in some way to try to pound it in for Alabama. If I'm playing defense, that's what I'm looking for.
Doug Allen, 46, John Wright, 40, and Bobby Humphrey, 26. Full house backfield. Dunn dives close to the goal line. Blocking over on that right side, the center, Roger Schultz, another freshman. Bill Condon, the senior right guard. Terrell Chapman, the freshman right tackle.
Well, they give it to Dunn. He was the North Carolina Player of the Year as a senior. 19 touchdowns, 2,500 yards he passed for his senior year, but he looks to be a pretty good runner, too.
That graphic may soon disappear. Knocking on the door from the 6-inch line. The Crimson Tide again. Stacked backfield. Dunn. Takes the snap. Touchdown, Alabama. John Wright out of Pritchard, Alabama, goes over the top. Blocking on that left side by Jeff Bentley, 68, and Larry Rose, the junior, number 74. There is Philip Doyle. He's a freshman out of Birmingham. Great recruiting by Alabama. They've got some outstanding freshmen. Larry Abney will spot it down. 7-0 Alabama.
Bo Wright, the better of the runners at the fullback position. The most impressive thing about this drive is how little they asked of Bobby Humphrey. The quarterback done, and then the touchdown by Wright, and a great drive by Alabama.
8:11 left to go. The Volunteers will get the football back for the first time, and already they're down. I'm Jim Kelly. Kevin Kiley is alongside, and welcome back to historic Legion Field here in Birmingham. It didn't take very long. 6 minutes and 49 seconds. It was a long time if you're playing defense for Tennessee.
That was a drive you expect out of a senior quarterback, and that's not what we had in there. We had Jeff Dunn, a redshirt freshman. What a job.
There is Reggie Cobb. Alan Ward set to kick it off for Alabama. Cobb, who averages almost 23 yards on kickoff returns, won't get it this time. Penalty flag down as it goes out of bounds at the 27.
It's an interesting choice. I think they have a choice whether they want to take that or not. It's on. I haven't seen one that short in a long time. I don't know that Tennessee might not want to just take it.
Doesn't look like it. It looks like 5 yards will be assessed against Alabama. On that last drive, by the way, Dunn, the freshman quarterback, ran for 23 yards, and he was 3 for 3 passing, Kevin, for 38 yards there. So 61 yards total offense for the freshman quarterback.
Well, they talked about their young quarterbacks.
Procedure on the kickoff. They will re-kick it.
They talked about the young quarterbacks, Dunn and Billy Ray. Both have great talent, but of course, Bill Curry also talked about the fact that you need to know what to expect from your quarterback. And in a case of young players like this, he doesn't know what to expect. Maybe that drive early in the game gave him a little insight into what kind of player Jeff is.
Well, you saw that sideline shot of Bill Curry, who told us the other day at practice that you never really lose unless you accept it. The Crimson coming off that Memphis State upset. Alan Ward will spot it now. Hash mark near side at the 30 after 5 yards has been walked off, and Reggie Cobb, 34, is still back deep. He cheats up a little bit near the 7-yard line, but this one is airmailed back to the 5. Reggie Cobb near the 22, gang tackle. Let's meet now the Volunteers offensively.
Jeff Francis, not a great arm, passes for a high percentage, but very, very smart, and a good look at the man, Reggie Cobb. He's setting the rest of the SEC on their ear. He's the leading scorer in the nation. Receivers, they're burners. They can fly, and Francis can get him the ball. Look out for all 3 of these guys. The tackles anchor what may be the best Tennessee line in a long time, and the 2 guards, Galbraith and Bruin, maybe the best in the nation as a tandem.
Francis gives it to Reggie Cobb, the tailback. Not much doing. A pickup of 1, 2nd and 9 as we meet the Crimson defensively.
And Alabama thin as far as linemen go. Willie Wyatt, the leading tackler on the team. That's kind of a surprise. Cole is starting for the first time, as is Brown starting for the first time at his position. Rockwell, a steady player. The inside backers, here's why they have problems. These 2 guys are very young.
Alvin Harper, the freshman out of Frostproof, Florida, checks in, number 81, along with Keith Davis, the junior out of Nashville. Quick snap. Up near the 25-yard line for a short gain goes William Howard, the senior out of Lima, Ohio. On the stop, Lee Rockwell, freshman out of Daphne, Alabama.
As Johnny Majors, I would definitely watch Reggie Cobb in this game. This is a place, playing in his first Alabama-Tennessee game, and he could get intimidated.
First pass for Francis. Deep drop, can run, but he needs 6. Will dive up near the 30 and not get the necessary yardage. Tommy Cole, the junior out of Jasper, Alabama, made the hit. He missed the spring game with a bad knee. So the Crimson Tide defensively is held. It's a punting situation for Tennessee. The Volunteers came in unbeaten, 4 wins and 1 tie. 6:37 left to go, first quarter. Garmin and what he's done punting so far this year, and back deep, a very offensive-oriented player, Gene Jelks. He can fly.
Jelks was a tailback, so it's no stranger for him. Even if he's got the ball in his hand, most defensive backs are not used to carrying the ball as much as Jelks has. He was a great tailback. Of course, Bobby Humphrey took his job. An interesting story about Jelks, and they asked him to play defense, Jim, and of course he said he'd been getting hit so long that he felt like, well, I think I'll go out there and hit somebody, and I don't play second team behind anybody, so he willfully, gladly went over to defense, and he's been a starting cornerback ever since. And
he graded out, Kevin, as the best athlete on the squad, number 22. He averaged over 6.2 yards per carry as a running back. He rushed for 1,094 yards, 9 touchdowns in 2 years, and now he finds himself playing a cornerback.
I had him in a kickoff class 2 years ago, and he played a great game, and of course he was a leader in the Alabama offense. Now he's a leader in the defense, and they really need him at cornerback, and he's come through.
Having some problems with the 30-second clock, the second time we've had an official timeout. 6:37 left to go in quarter number 1. Bob Garmin averages over 41 yards a punt for his career. There is Bob, number 41, the senior from Birmingham. Didn't have to go far to recruit him. Jelks is back deep. What happens to a team, Kevin, as far as momentum now when you have these kinds of delays?
Yeah, this is really tough, Jim. That's a good point. It is very difficult to come back from something like this. I would think it would hurt Alabama a little more than it would hurt Tennessee. Alabama with the momentum. Tennessee gives them a chance to get their head together.
Garman off the side of his foot. Jelks fields at a dead run going east-west and now breaks it big. One man to beat. Touchdown. A 36-yard punt, a 64-yard return, and Johnny Majors' team digging a large hole. Abney will spot it down. Doyle will kick it through, and it's good. Well, we said he was the team's best athlete.
A running back who recognizes a seam when he sees one. Look at him put on the brakes. Go right through that seam. He's directing traffic a little bit here. Interesting, team speed was supposed to be Tennessee's major benefit in this game. It was Jelks, though, on his punt return that outran the special teams and got in. And I cannot tell you how big a boost this is to the Alabama team.
Johnny Majors comes in unbeaten, but now with 6:37 left in the first quarter, he's down by 2 touchdowns. Well, as a freshman, the man you're looking at right there, Gene Jelks, was the first ever for Alabama to rush and receive for 100 yards in the same game. Takes a lot of courage to take a man who's that offensively oriented, make him a defensive back, but that's what Bill Curry has done. Reggie Cobb will watch this one go into, or no, it's out of bounds at the 1. So Alan Ward will have to reload again. Going back to Jelks for just a second, Curry told us at practice the other day that Gene went to him and said, he'd like to do whatever best for the team. You know, he said his most admired man was actor Billy D. Williams. Gene did. He gets the Academy Award, right? He goes 64 yards and says, give me some oxygen.
Well, I kind of like Billy D. myself.
The last time, by the way, that an opponent ran a punt back for a touchdown against Tennessee was Trey Gaines of Auburn back on September 24th in '83, an 81-yard punt return. We just don't have a doubleheader for you on ESPN. We've got a triple header, and coming up right after our game. This will be an exciting game because they love to put it in the air. Fresno State, the Bulldogs, playing host to the Spartans. Stay with us. That game coming up right after our battle between the Crimson Tide and the Volunteers. A line drive kick. Cobb fields at the 9. Looks for some help, bangs into a couple of his own jerseys and cracks it across the 30. Steve Wilson on the stop for Alabama. A 21-yard return. So with 6:35 left to go, Alabama leads Kevin 14-0. Francis will be very poised. Johnny Majors has been down by 2 touchdowns, so there's no panic.
Well, when I said earlier about the guy that I'd watch closely in this game is Cobb, the running back. I mean, this is Alabama. I mean, this is a big game, and Cobb has never played in this game before, and he's got to be feeling it just a little bit.
Cobb gets a rest. Davis is in. Francis goes airborne, wants it all on the fly. Looking downfield, dropped at the 18-yard line. Terrence Cleveland looks for the penalty flag. There is no call. Cleveland, the sophomore from Sweetwater, Tennessee, was streaking down inside the 20. John Magnum back there in the coverage.
You're looking at the strength of the Tennessee offense and the strength of Francis's arm. He just lays it out for the speed burner Cleveland, who should have had this. This ball's right in his hands. And that's the result. And here's Francis.
Can't throw the ball much better than that. 2nd and 10 from the 30 of Tennessee. Davis, and not much doing. Maybe a pickup of 1. That's swarming Alabama defense.
And defense is where they were hurting. There's Wyatt. He's the leading tackler. Remember, those 2 inside linebackers are not regulars. The 2 guys that started, Bramer and Stewart, are young kids. One's a freshman, another a redshirt freshman, and so far they're doing a good job.
The Volunteers did not have much luck rushing against Alabama last year. Woods out of bounds. Now, Kevin, that's more the fault of the receiver. He's got to know whether he's in or out of bounds, and he had room to make that catch, but he just wasn't cognizant of where he was.
You're absolutely right, Jim. That's exactly what happened. He turned around with his back to the defense, looking at the quarterback, and never realized where his feet were on the field. He could have had it in bounds. Bob
Garman, what he's done tonight, the last time that man touched the football, he was off to the races. 64 yards and a touchdown. A high spiraling kick. It jumps up to the 20. Fair catch is called for, so the Crimson Tide will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20 after that 48-yard kick. Let's take a look at this 1.5-step punt right here, a punt that Johnny Major's father taught him when he was about 6 years old.
Well, in the old days, Tennessee did. They kicked it with a 1.5, and that's right, it was Shirley Majors and Beatty Feathers that kicked it at 1.5. That actually, they're calling that 1.5 or 2 steps now. What Garman kicks with is actually a 2-step punt. They've gotten away from the 1.5. Time is the most important thing. Get it off quick.
Play action fake. Dunn wants to go up top. Intercepted by Tennessee at the 37-yard line. Terry McDaniel, the senior out of Saginaw, Michigan. Pierre Goud was the intended receiver. The ball slightly underthrown by the freshman Jeff Dunn.
Easy to underthrow the ball against McDaniel. Now, this is the strength of the Tennessee defense. This guy's a world-class sprinter, and you just about are going to underthrow everything you throw at him. He's got great speed. He's all over the receiver a little bit, but the ball's in the air, and they're both playing it. A great play by McDaniel. He's the best defensive back they have. A little ambitious, asking Dunn to throw against him.
Big defensive play right there for Tennessee from the momentum standpoint.
Absolutely, You're right.
From the 38, 1st and 10. Francis back in. Slashing off the left side behind Kevin Simons goes Reggie Cobb. Derek Thomas on the tackle, number 55, the junior out of Miami, Florida.
I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying Reggie Cobb is tight. That's not what I mean. But what I'm saying is, if you were in this atmosphere with us, you would realize that a freshman could get tight, and a tailback has got to be fluid. If he tightens up, he won't be fluid, he won't make the cuts as quick, and it could affect his performance. So he needs to be loose.
You can see Jeff Francis, the junior out of Mount Prospect, Illinois, with an audible. Goes to the tailback. Up near the 45. Again goes Reggie Cobb in the grasp of Robert Stewart. Talking about Cobb, Kevin, the coaches said they knew how good he was. They didn't know how fast he was.
Yeah, and he's a guy that just surprised everybody, I think, but he won't surprise anybody from here on in when he leads the nation in rushing. In scoring. He gets a lot of attention quickly. They need to establish the run. Too much penetration by Alabama early in the game for Tennessee to run the ball. And again, they had penetration, but Cobb was able to get around it and make a gain.
Tennessee 0 for 2 on 3rd down conversions. Howard, Wilson, and Cobb now line up in the backfield. That's a 1st down for the Volunteers at midfield. William Howard, the senior out of Lima, Ohio, behind the big center, Todd Kirk, and the left guard, Harry Galbraith, in the grasp of Robert Stewart.
They call Howard number 35. They call him Mr. Clutch. He scores a lot of touchdowns. He holds on to the ball, and he gets you those tough yards, and he did on that play.
First down for Tennessee. They're at midfield. They're down by 2 touchdowns. Francis will pump it up. Toughest thing to do, running to your left for a right-handed quarterback. He misfires to a wide-open John Rowland. Well, UNLV falls by 2 touchdowns to Long Beach State. Pacific falls by 4. They're behind to Utah State. Idaho by 10. There is Francis looking at a 2nd down and 10 from the 50-yard line. Woods wide to the left. Moore comes to the bottom of the screen along with McGuire. Tripped up at midfield and falling forward for maybe a yard, and Greg Gilbert submarined him down low, the junior out of Decatur, Alabama.
One of the great offensive guards in the country, number 76, Harry Galbraith for Tennessee. He's a horse, 6'1", 267 pounds. Again, number 76. You see his back as he turns a player. And in fact, it was Cobb that tripped over his foot probably and went down.
They need 8. Blitz. Francis reads it and unloads. Penalty flag is down, as is Thomas Woods. Now he is down at the 39, so if the penalty is against Alabama, it'll be a first down. Jelks on the stop. Holding Tennessee.
That's a very gutty call by the Alabama defense, coming with a blitz against a very experienced passing team and forced them into a holding. Too many guys to block.
10-yard penalty.
There was just too many people they had to hold. Cost them a first down.
Yesterday, Kevin, Johnny Majors told us a couple of keys to the game. He said they had to be physically domineering against Alabama, could not have too much confusion in the backfield, needed a consistent passing game. Those were the 3 things that he was looking for from the Volunteers.
This is an excellent passing team. The danger of playing against Francis is the recognition factor. He's very smart, and he'll recognize the defense in a situation as he did there and get the ball to the receiver.
Cobb out, Keith Davis is in. 3rd and 18. Francis going for the home run. Picked off. John Mangum at the 10. Anthony Miller, the intended receiver, but that one just fluttered down into Mangum's arm.
Mangum's dad played for Southern Miss. He's probably the best cover guy in the defensive secondary for Alabama, and he's all over that. Now this thing is a floater. It's a balloon. He just threw it up there. He needed to throw it further. Mangum in perfect position, right inside the chest stomach area of the receiver. No place for him to go. He couldn't even get through him to get the ball. Alabama's ball.
And if you're a Tennessee fan, as good as a punt. Straight ahead behind Larry Rose, Roger Schultz, and Jeff Bentley goes Bobby Humphrey. Marion Hobby on the stop. Kevin, you and I were here last night watching a high school game. Bobby Humphrey's cousin playing for Parker. He's got some Humphrey-like moves, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was a good player. Number 40. How about that kid Clayton? I don't know. I didn't get his first name, but I sure saw his arm. He threw a 40-yarder on a line.
He threw the ball as hard as Terry Bradshaw or John Elway ever threw in high school.
Or Sandy Koufax.
2nd and 7 for Alabama. They lead 14-0. 2 minutes left now in the first quarter. Dunn runs the option to perfection. Tripped up, though, on a fine defensive play. Penetrating Terry Daniel, the left side cornerback. Terry McDaniel.
At this point, you have to go back to last year and the beating that Alabama handed Tennessee. Most of that coming in the first half. They surprised them. I'm sure that type of thing is going through the mind of the Tennessee players, certainly the defense. They took an awful beat from Bobby Humphrey and Alabama, and with a 14-0 score, they've got to be feeling it.
Asked Johnny Majors the other day the biggest change he's noticed in himself as a head coach. Now in his 20th year as a head coach, his 11th at Tennessee. He said he's much more patient than he used to be. Penalty against Alabama. There are the penalties on the night, so it backs Alabama up. They'll spot it just inside the 8-yard line. 2nd and 12. Pierre Booth, number 2, checks in. Wide receiver Dunn, the freshman, bends in. Hands off to the fullback, Doug Allen. Cracks it at the left side. Short yardage situation. Let's go back to Tim for more scores.
All right, Jim Kelly, thank you. Over in Tallahassee, a 7-touchdown favorite Florida State Seminole team in some trouble. Ronnie Bell attempting the field goal. They muffed the snap. Then the pass to George Williams. Touchdown, right? Wrong. He dropped the ball. But Louisville staying close in the second quarter. It's 6-3 Florida State. Back to Jim.
Tim, you're right. It said they were a 47 or a 48-point underdog. You don't think Howard Schnellenberger used that for a little inspiration just before they came out of the tunnel? 3rd and 10. Dunn from the 2. Wants it all. Looks downfield. Goo! Got it! He's gone! touchdown toss for the freshman right there. On the year, it's a 90-yarder. Philip Doyle will try to make it a 21-0 Crimson advantage. He does. Watch the freshman, and then watch number 2, Pierre Goud.
We said he had to get the ball to the wide receivers. Goud in high school held the national record in a 110-meter high hurdles, 13.73 seconds, and I'll tell you, he's not much slower than that on this one. He just outran the coverage. And how about Jeff Dunn getting the ball to those wide receivers early?
You think the freshman is happy? He's going down for the congratulations. Pierre Goud this year, 4 catches, 3 of them for touchdowns. That 90-yard touchdown toss from Dunn to Goud is a brand new Alabama record. The old record set in 1954, Albert Elmore to Bobby Luna. That covered 58 yards, so the old mark just fell by 32. Ward hangs it high, hangs it deep. Cobb will bring it out. Up across the 30, check at the 22-yard line. Well, Tennessee came in, and they were a 2-point favorite, so an upset in the making here. You want an upset? How about what happened to Joe Paterno's club in the Carrier Dome? Arkansas lost on the last play of the game. You saw that game with Mike Patrick and Lee Corso here on ESPN. Rutgers beating Cowboy Jack Bicknell and Boston College's Eagles. There's another upset. Wake Forest was favored by a field goal. And here, Tennessee fans are upset. They're behind by 3 touchdowns. Francis will put it up. Wide open. Woods, first down for the Volunteers. A 17-yard pickup.
Well, so far this game has gone completely in reverse what we expected out of Tennessee at the end of the first quarter. Here we've gotten out of Alabama 21-0.
That's the end of the first quarter. Alabama leads 3 touchdowns to nothing. It's been all Crimson Tide. A 64-yard punt return, a 90-yard scoring. Well, they need that towel in the first quarter. They're behind by 3 touchdowns. They're going to have to wring it out. That towel was only $18.95 outside the stadium just before the game, right?
Yeah, I got a case.
From the 39-yard line, first snap, second stanza, 1st and 10 for the Volunteers. Howard and Cobb are your running backs. It's Cobb coming at you. That's a tough yard. Storyline, Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Jeff Dunn, the freshman, 4 for 5. One of those 90 yards and a touchdown. Alabama, big total yards. Jelks opened things up with that 63-yard punt return.
This reminds me of last week's game, Pittsburgh and Notre Dame. Pittsburgh played a perfect half. Tennessee, in the process of it, certainly a perfect first quarter.
Big hole right side. As Bruin and Stewart do their jobs, William Howard trucks on through.
William Howard's a tough load, certainly for an experienced linebacker. How about a young pair? Here are those 2 youngsters getting blocked, both of them, and getting carried backwards. Now, Alabama, up the middle, was thought to be vulnerable before this game started, and that's where Tennessee has got to start their comeback. In the center of the defense, cave in the rest of it.
First down for Tennessee at the 44 of Alabama.
There's plenty of time for the Volunteers in this game, but like I said, they have to establish this running game. Pitching back to their big man, Cobb. That's a nice run. Best run yet by the young freshman. He needs to get his legs under him.
The coaches say he is big, he is fast, he is shifty, and he's the most natural runner at Tennessee since Johnny Jones. Francis. Incomplete, looking for a diving John Rollins. Francis is 6'3", 208 pounds, 68 for 108 so far on the year, 634 yards. There's what he's done tonight.
A very accurate passer normally. That's not good for him. He passed for 64% last year.
Cleveland and Harper wide to the right. Francis flares it out. He's got Cobb. Loose football. Alabama at the 45. Penalties, 1 interception, a fumble, and Tommy Cole, who missed the spring practice because of knee problems.
I can't be sure from up here, Jim, but it looked like he turned to the side just before he was hit. And if he did, that's a mistake. No, he didn't. He was going straight ahead. It was just good defense. Look at all the crimson shirts knocking the ball loose from the freshman, Reggie Cobb. Another turnover.
1st and 10, Alabama from their own 45. Dunn back in. Bends in, the freshman. Batted down. They had the screen set up, and Marion Hobby deflected it. Well, we talked about the greats at Tennessee, General Robert Neyland. Football is composed of nothing except accidents. The great art is to profit from such accidents. Right now, the Volunteers are looking at a train wreck.
Yes, this is a place where you like to cause accidents. That's how you benefit from them, and that's what Alabama's doing. You're right. It's a train wreck so far, Jim.
Dunn, 4 out of 6, 128 yards, 1 touchdown. Big hole for Allen over the middle. Roger Schultz, a freshman, 6'2", 250, redshirted last year. He's the center.
And there's a flag on this one. I think it's going to be a face mask. Somebody reached in there, I think, and grabbed the face mask.
You know, Kevin, when you start to make mistakes like that, the face mask, it's a sign of frustration setting in.
Well, a lot of times it's a sign of just, that's what it is. It is a face mask on Hobby, and what it is, it's a sign of just desperation, trying to get in there, and when you're not in position to make a tackle, that's when you grab a face mask. When your arms have to do the work, that's not right. You need to get your body in front, and that's why you get a penalty like that.
Trent Patterson, a freshman, checks in at right guard. So on that right side, you've got a freshman at center in Roger Schultz, a freshman right guard in Trent Patterson, and a freshman right tackle in Terrell Chapman, and a freshman quarterback. I'd like to be Bill Curry looking ahead at next year.
I don't know. I'd like to be Bill Curry looking ahead at the next 3 quarters here today.
Whitehurst wide to the right. Battle comes to the near side. And Bobby Humphrey blocking by that freshman right side we talked about. Patterson and Chapman cracks it up close to the 30-yard line. David Johnson on the stop, the junior out of Dayton, Tennessee.
Trent Patterson coming out, number 65, helping to create a hole. One of the problems with the Tennessee defense in the past, it hasn't been physical enough, and Alabama manhandling them.
Dunn with an audible. I think you just said number 26, you get the ball. Bobby Humphrey gets the ball, stopped by Richard Cooper out of Memphis. What is that, 35 in a row now for Columbia?
They're on a roll.
Harvard. No problem over Dartmouth. Boy, is it beautiful up at Dartmouth this time of year. Brown bangs Cornell. Navy by 10 against Penn. Princeton beats Lehigh by 1. 3rd and 6. The ball resting just across the 30-yard line. Battle and Stafford are the wide receivers. And a timeout for Alabama. It's been all Crimson Tide. They came in a slight underdog, but they're beating the Vols at home. Along with Kevin Kiley, I'm Jim Kelly, and welcome back to historic Legion Field here in Birmingham, about an hour from the campus of the University of Alabama down in Tuscaloosa.
Where we were the other day, down on Paul Bear Bryant Drive. A lot of history in Tuscaloosa.
Battle, top of the screen. Stafford to the near side on 3rd and 6. Blitz. Incomplete at the 25-yard line. Howard Cross, and what a collision there by Kelly Days.
Well, this is just great defense by Tennessee. They come and then they cover on the young guy. Now they're all over him. Here's the last half of that play. Steve DeLong, great play by him. Man coverage on the blitz, and that was a big down for Tennessee. They could not have afforded another touchdown. Now they've got to stop the field goal somehow.
Philip Doyle will try a 47-yarder out of the hold of Larry Abney. On its way, and it looks good. Crimson Tide have done no wrong. They lead the Volunteers 24-zip. Well, Timmy, with that score, you can bet Howard Schnellenberger's puffing away on that pipe over on the sideline. Back here, it is Alabama 24-0. Alan Ward will kick it away. Thomas Woods is back deep now. Reggie Cobb getting a rest on the kickoff team as Ward sends it high and into the end zone and out of the end zone. First and 10, Tennessee at their own 20. That last scoring drive, just over 2.5 minutes, 6 plays, went just 25 yards, and a 47-yard field goal by Philip Doyle that, Kevin, would have been good from about 52.
Well, he's got quite a leg. He had kicked one from over 50. Alabama's been perfect, Jim. I mean, they have not done anything wrong. Maybe that one interception, which they were able to hold defensively, but there was some concern last week, and there was criticism in the paper that Bill Curry didn't have them ready for Memphis State. They were ready tonight.
Francis, the junior quarterback. Slow developing play, and Francis is down at the 11. Derek Thomas, the junior out of Miami, leads the team in sacks with 7. Just recorded his 8th of the year.
Derek Thomas, number 55. Now, he's the guy that was going to replace Cornelius Bennett, left side of your screen. This thing, you said it, it just took forever. Thomas never took his eyes off the quarterback and was able to make the play. Tennessee, it looked just really sluggish on that play. They need to be crisp. If they're going to beat this team, they have got to be crisp.
Second and 20. The sophomore out of Anderson, South Carolina. The second interception, and it's a sea of red going crazy at Legion Field in Birmingham.
Short zone for Osmond, number 42. Nothing in front of him. He just keeps drifting back. Francis, not a good pass, tried to float it into something that wasn't there.
The second interception thrown by Francis. The Crimson Tide have also recovered 1 fumble. 3 turnovers for Tennessee, and they're already down 24-zip. Humphrey is down at the 28-yard line. Kelly Ziegler, excuse me, on the stop, helped out by Marion Hobby.
Sorry, Jim. Last year, Alabama murdered Tennessee on the sweep. They ran the same play 28 times in the game last week, and they go right to the perimeter after the turnover. The book on Tennessee last year was they weren't physical enough at the corners.
Sanders getting ready and warming up. May have to come in out of the bullpen. Second and 7. The I-Pro set. Allen and Humphrey are the running backs. Dunn pulls it back down, and he's down near the 25.
Number 88, Marcus Battle, a wide receiver, running clear, screaming for Dunn to find him, but the young guy had pulled it down and heading upfield. Dunn having a career game. Marco Battle, there he is.
Dunn, 4 out of 6 passing for 128 yards. He's rushed 6 times for 27 yards. Third and 4. Kerry Good, his brother Pierre Good, with a 60-yard touchdown reception on the night, caught by Kelly Ziegler.
Again, they went to the perimeter, trying to beat Tennessee outside. The Volunteers were there, and there's another Good, a Clyde Good, on Proposition 48. They've had a lot of good Goods here at Alabama. Kerry's a good story.
That was very good.
I'm afraid to say that we could do the rest of the night on this. Kerry's a good story. We'll get to him later.
A 41-yard field goal try. Philip Doyle, 2 for 3 on the night out of the hold of Larry Abney, on its way, and it is wide to the right. So Tennessee dodges another bullet after Francis put up his second interception on the night. The time is being kept down on the field. We're in the second quarter. It's been all Alabama. Kevin, a tough way to make up 24 points when you go interception, fumble, interception.
Well, mistakes, you know, like the general said many years ago, mistakes, accidents will kill you. Tennessee has an offense that can come back, though. They are very balanced. They need to balance it out, run a little bit, pass a little bit. They get back in.
I think you just paraphrased the general.
Yeah.
First and 10 from the 24. Francis stays in at quarterback. Hole on a trap play over the right side, blocking by Bruin and Stewart. Charles Wilson, the senior from Pritchard, Alabama, in the grasp of Philip Brown.
Comes linebacker Greg Gilbert. Now Alabama, a smallish defense in the pass, takes a lot of chances. Gilbert blitzes, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Get picked up. Bruin picked them up, pushed them aside. 5 yards for Tennessee.
Francis with an audible now. He looks over that defense. Wants a quick out pattern. Nobody comes out over to help him out, and Francis has to dive to the 28. Philip Brown made the tackle secure. You can see that from up here. That was going absolutely nowhere.
You know what happened there, Jim? Nobody made an adjustment. Now, one receiver, they were all covered. Now, here's a shot. Watch these guys. They're all covered. He wants to throw it right away. See here on the corner? Osmond's got the coverage. Nobody made an adjustment for Francis, and he turned around and gone downfield. They could have floated over the defense's head. They can't guard him that close and not make an adjustment offensively.
3rd and 6. What the Alabama defense does is they wait till the offense lines up, then they spread. That is a first down, and that's Terrence Cleveland. Lee Rockwell on the stop. Just a slant-in pattern. We talked at the very top at 21-yard pickup about the great speed of the Volunteer receivers.
Yeah, and they're playing them a little deep here, and they blitz, and what they do is they roll it into the middle. Cleveland, number 4, came in where the linebacker should have been. Here's the shot. Good job, guys, on this shot. Cleveland right in that linebacker hook area, making the catch. Francis finds him. That's the strength of the offense, is their adjustment and the rapport between the receivers and the quarterback.
1st and 10 from the 49. Francis 3 for 9. 37 yards. Davis in the backfield. And so are the crimson jerseys of Alabama. Darrell Whetstone, the nose guard.
They call him Quake. Now, that was about a 7.2 on the Richter scale.
Kevin, we're talking about the defense of the Crimson Tide, waiting until the Volunteers' offense breaks up. Let's see if we can watch right there the kind of the spread formation. Now, see, they'll wait and see where the wide receivers go, how the running backs set up. Now, they'll align defensively, so it makes it tough on the quarterback to read the defense. Defense read Davis perfectly. Byron Holdbrooks on the stop.
They're getting off their blocks just too quickly, Jim. They're not getting blocked. The offense of Tennessee, their linemen are not holding blocks. And Alabama, which has always been a kind of a fly-to-the-ball type of a defense, very quick, is doing a job tonight.
I think that the defensive front for Alabama is doing a job, too. They've really controlled the line of scrimmage.
Well, a little confusing, too. They have some people out of position there. Alabama does, and I think they're confusing the Tennessee blocking scheme.
3rd and 16. Alabama might have jumped off sides. We'll have to find out if they were drawn off. It looked like 55, Derek Thomas.
I want you to watch what Francis does on this play, on the replay. The center snaps the ball.
Defensive line encroaches to
Todd
the
Kirk.
neutral zone, 5 yards.
A man is in the neutral zone for Alabama, but he hasn't hit anybody. Now watch what happens. Center taught to snap it with him in the neutral zone. Francis goes down on one knee. Bill Curry doesn't like it. That's smart offense. The defender had a chance to get back, but the center snapped it too quickly. Not on the count, but as soon as he hit the neutral zone.
So instead of 3rd and 16, it's 3rd and 11. On extra effort, Keith Davis will break it for a first down. There were 2 Crimson Tide defenders that had him. Finally, Jelks and Holdbrooks made the tackle. They had him stopped, though, Kevin, 5 yards shy of first down yardage.
Well, this sometimes happens when you 2 people have a shot defensively. You get in each other's way. You see that? How Osmond got underneath there in his way.
The line of scrimmage, the 34 of Alabama, the deepest Volunteer penetration. Wide open, out of bounds at the 23, Thomas Woods.
Making the tackle.
Other scores: Colgate over Army. That's a final. Holy Cross and Gordy Lochbaum big over Lafayette. Or Lafayette now leading Davidson. From the 23, Francis again with an audible after that Crimson Tide defense waits for his team offensively to set up. There goes Keith Davis across the right side, blocking by Bruin out of Knoxville. 2nd and 7 coming up.
Late in the drive, they've got Keith Davis in the game. He was a great running back. 2 years ago, he injured his knee. Number 28. He sat out and did not play well last year. He never did come back from that injury, but he is a great tailback, and they say he's about 90-95% now, and a little more experienced than Cobb here as we get to the late stages of the first half. A guy that maybe they feel has played in this game and can play under pressure a little better.
Again, the time is being kept down in the field. They had trouble. There is Bill Curry. If he looks a little bit thinner than when he played pro football, he's dropped 65 pounds. He takes a health sandwich to lunch, and then he snacks on nuts and raisins the rest of the day. He looks terrific. He'll be 45 years old next Wednesday.
Should have fur on his tail. He eats nuts and raisins all the time.
Scores and highlights, and there have been some major upsets coming up at halftime, including Syracuse coach Dick McPherson, who will talk about what they did to Joe Paterno and Penn State at the Carrier Dome. Wide open at the 13. Charles Wilson out of bounds inside the 5. Francis now starting to heat up. Jelks bumped him out of bounds. Unofficially, 4 minutes left in the first half.
You see the confidence that Johnny Majors has in that man, Francis. Not only did he not take him out, they go right back to that passing game. The control passing game. He is a very accurate passer. It's almost like a running game, and they're moving up the field.
I think Francis saw Sanders warming up on the sideline. He said, uh-oh. First and goal from the 5. An audible again by Francis. Cobb is back in at the tailback. He's got the ball. And he's got it down to the 1-yard line. Lee Rockwell on the stop. The freshman, 6'3", 204, redshirted last year. You know, as you look at Reggie Cobb, we talked about they didn't know how fast he was. The coaches say he's getting better in learning anticipation in certain types of moves. He is just a freshman, so he's just a babe in the woods, and he's coming in here to Alabama.
The only way a tailback can learn to play is to play. Has to play in a game.
Howard, Wilson, and Cobb in the backfield. Robert Stewart grounded Cobb. In fact, he lost a yard.
Penetration is the key. It's been the key the entire first half. He doesn't even get airborne. Now watch Stewart, number 34, up over and catch him on his way up. And that's the way to stop a guy. You wonder when you see these guys jump over the line, that's how you get them. You get them before they get off the ground.
Less than 4 minutes to go. Alabama leads 24-0, but the Volunteers knocking on the door. The 70th renewal of a great rivalry in the Southeast Conference, Alabama and Tennessee. Tennessee's offense before this drive, just 41 yards. On this drive, 68 yards. 3rd and 3. How about a play action?
Play action, you got to be careful of the wide side of the field. If they roll, they'll roll to the wide side to their left offensively.
Francis now changing the play up, sending Woods further wide to the left. Drop in the end zone. Terrence Cleveland. Now, are you in a 4-down situation, or do you take the field goal?
I think they definitely have to get points out of this drive, or they're really going to be down. Talk about emotion. He didn't get great adjustment. Again, Cleveland coming from the other side. He almost hits a lineman who was across the line of scrimmage with the ball behind Cleveland. The receivers really did not adjust that well on the goal line. He had time. Some of those guys would have reversed their field and tried to find an open spot. Would have helped them.
Phil Rich, 5 for 6, as you saw, out of the hold of Randy Sanders. He's a quarterback. Might be alert for a play fake. Hash mark right side, a 20-yarder is on its way, and it's up and good. So the Volunteers in the final 3 minutes of the first half are on the board. Johnny Majors applauding, but meekly, his team down by 3 touchdowns.
Well, they showed a couple of things on that drive, Jim. They showed they could move the ball, which if you're going to talk about anything at halftime and you're going to not sound ridiculous, you have to have something positive to talk about. So they've not been shut out. They have 3 points, and they did move the ball. They know they can move it against Alabama. So you can go into the locker room and talk about those things and get pumped up for the second half.
Every Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, ESPN kicks off your Saturday with College Football Game Day, the most comprehensive hour in college football. Join Tim Brando and Bino and Kerry Ross on College Football Game Day. Boy, do they have a great show today. Next week, we've got Oklahoma and Colorado, the first night game that'll be played in Norman, Oklahoma. Kevin and I will be there at 7:30 Eastern Time. That should be a great game.
I'm going to bring my woolies for that one. Bring some warm clothes, too.
Better have Lauren knit some, huh? 21 points, the deficit, with less than 3 minutes to go before halftime. Again, the time is unofficial. It's being kept down on the field. They'll fight for it at the goal line, and Kerry Good, 35, will bring it out. Look out! Tripped up at the 20. Otherwise, he had big yardage. A 21-yard kickoff return, and the Crimson Tide up 24-3. Bring it out 1st and 10.
21 yards.
Kerry Good in 1984 had 297 all-purpose yards against Boston College. Late in the 3rd quarter, he hurt his knee, and it really put a crimp in his career. He's never fully come back from that.
Good comes out wide to the right side along with Clay Whitehurst. If you're Alabama, Kevin, you get concerned?
I would.
They'll keep it on the ground and keep the time running down. Across the 26 goes Doug Allen.
And the reason I would is because you do have a freshman quarterback in there, and you've got the best of all worlds now. You're leading Tennessee 24-3 with a short time left at the half. I'd take this one and take it into the locker room with me and get ready for the second half. There's no reason to give Tennessee any more momentum than you need to.
You've played a flawless first half. That's Howard Cross lining up on the right side. At the bottom of your screen, Pierre Good. Roger Schultz, the center, never snapped the ball. Let's see who jumped offside. Procedure against the Crimson Tide. So it'll be 2nd and 10.
They were averaging 49 yards per game in penalties prior to last week against Memphis State. Against Memphis State, they had 91 yards, double their average in penalties. Concentration a problem? Yes. Big lead, when you have a big lead in a big game, a problem? Concentration? Sometimes, yes.
Dunn gives it off to the tailback. Not much doing. Straight ahead goes Kerry Good, number 35, out of Town Creek, Alabama. Charles Kimbrough on the stop.
You're playing defense against an I formation and you're in this type of position because it takes the I tailback so long to get to the line. If you shoot that outside backer or a cornerback, when you suspect a run, you have a chance to get him at a blind angle, maybe knock the ball loose. Those are some of the things that Tennessee will have to begin thinking about in this game. They need to create something.
3rd and 7 with a minute and a half left to go in the first half. 6 defensive backs in for Tennessee. Kerry Good. That is a first down and a big one up near the 34. Tony Nelson on the stop, the junior. Good blocking around that left side by Jeff Bentley and Larry Rose, but a little tightrope dance by Kerry Good.
It's a good back. Way back in 1983, rushed for 693 yards. But again, Tennessee weak at the corner. Remember that sweep last year for Alabama. Teams will go wide on Tennessee, and this kid is a good player, and he's come back from a very severe knee injury to play pretty well.
Out of Hazelwood High, his team won the state 2A championship when they went 14-0. 1 minute left in the first half. Bama's ball, and Kerry Good goes the other way. Penalty flag is down, and so is Good. Kimbrough's got him again. Let's see if that might be a holding call against Pierre Good.
There's a little bit of what we were talking about the corner for Tennessee. We'll show you the tight end, Howard Cross, number 85, how he gets outside. Can't let him, see, can't let, and there's your holding too right there, Howard. Can't let that offensive blocker get around on your outside. If he does get outside, you have to get upfield quick and then get laterally outside yourself as a defender and try to keep contained.
His dad was a punter in high school, a farm boy. And that man played with Bart Starr, played with Ray Perkins, had a great career as a pro, played in 3 Super Bowls, Super Bowls 1, 3, and 5. 7 penalties against Bama for 42 yards. 2 of those penalties have been holding calls. The fullback, John White, who has a touchdown, crosses the 30-yard line. Scores and highlights coming up with Tim Brando at halftime as we approach the intermission. 24-3 is our score. Bama big over the Vols. Talk about Lauren knitting you some woolies for next week. Mr. Wright's going to get his jersey fixed, huh? Lauren is your wife.
Yeah. Well, that could be either a man or a woman's name.
The time has run down. 24-3. Alabama on top over Tennessee. Let's go back to the studio and our host, Tim Brando.
Now they have 0 return yards in terms of punting. This, of course, is a kickoff.
It's deep. It's end over end. It's Cobb at 1 yard in. Good return of 25 yards. He cracks it across the 24. 1st and 10 as Francis brings the Volunteers out. Francis in the first half, as far as passing, 6 of 13, 80 yards, 2 interceptions, and he was sacked twice.
But he was 1 of 6. Remember, he was 6 of 13, but he was 1 of 6, Jim. So he had a pretty good second quarter. He's a veteran quarterback, a lot of poise, a lot of experience, and the offense on this team is probably the strength of the team if you had to rate offense and defense.
From the 25, it's 1st and 10, and the I-Pro set. Wilson's the fullback, Cobb is the tailback. Wilson tells Cobb to play, and here we go. You get it. And Alabama's got Cobb up near the 28-yard line. Lee Osmith, the sophomore out of Anderson, South Carolina, 6'5", 205. How's that for a giant rover back?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Now let's go back to that defense, Kevin, that reacts to the Tennessee offense. They'll break the huddle. We'll try and show it to you on the shot right here. Watch all the red jerseys, the crimson jerseys. They don't line up. They wait and see where all the wide receivers go, where the backs are split. Then they'll set defensively.
And as you pointed out, they give the quarterback nothing to see until the last minute. But now he's audibilizing as he has much of the first half.
It's a check with me offense. Checking with number 34, Reggie Cobb. Willie Wyatt's got him. The sophomore, number 98, out of Gardendale, Alabama. The nose tackle. He's 6'1", 255. Leads the team in tackle with 56.
Well, you're probably wondering at home how you would get a defensive team, to stop doing that. A quick count, run up to the line of scrimmage, go with no huddle, things like that. Force the defense to line up.
Watch them react again. That Alabama defense forcing Francis to audibilize. The wide receivers come out wide to the left. The backs are split. Now Alabama checks their defense. 3rd and 5. Francis fires. Got his man in a first down at the 40-yard line. McGuire, the senior out of Memphis. John Mangum on the stop. Mangum with the interception.
No audible here, which may be a tip-off to Alabama when it's a pass play. Maybe he doesn't need to audible. Good pass, good catch by McGuire for a first down.
Wide open over the middle. Thomas Woods found the seam and cracked it inside the 40-yard line of Alabama. Francis with a hot hand to start the second half.
Got a true freshman in there, Steve Raymer, number 49. Now this is play action. Here he comes, taking a step up. Oops. And now here's this pass I talked about at the half. In the hole, something that Alabama will give up with a big lead. Generally, if you play a semi-prevent or you're concerned about a quick score, you'll give up that pass. They did. Tennessee took it.
Again, the audible by Francis. Splits Woods out further at the bottom of your screen. Quick drop. Woods dances down to the 30-yard line.
pass that I saw Tennessee run to perfection in the Liberty Bowl with Francis and his receivers. And when you have great speed and they play off of you, that thing should be open all day. When you don't have that play, well, here's your audible. Okay, here's Francis again with an audible. Now he's going to that play.
Pat the helmet. Woods. 4 receivers, 54 receptions for 55 yards. Blitz, Woods. Francis dumps it off, incomplete. Pressure by Tommy Cole again. Francis says, let's hurry up. Let's get back to the line of scrimmage. Looking over into the brain trust now of Tennessee. Johnny Majors, the head coach. They signal in the plays. He's got the headset on right there.
That's a good play by a veteran quarterback, throwing it to the ground like that.
He's a junior out of Mount Prospect, Illinois, Jeff Francis. And they say that he will throw it away rather than throw it in the crowd or risk the turnover. Now slaps the helmet again with a play call. Quick drop. Woods again. Got it. And look out. Down to the 21. Had he gotten away from Gene Jelks, it was touchdown.
Well, there's that play I was just talking about a minute ago. What I meant to say was, if the thing is open short and you complete a few, you get Jelks coming up or the corner, whoever's playing the corner coming up, and you can get that wide receiver by him for the long one. Now, this is something they didn't do in the first half, but they've always done and done well, Francis and his receivers. That's going to make Alabama come up tight. When they do, look out long.
Woods now 5 catches, 64 yards. The audible is the backs, Davis and Wilson. Wilson chips. There's the fullback, Charles Wilson. 5 Crimson Tide jerseys around the ball, led by Derek Thomas, number 55. What Thomas has done to his jersey, he's tied it in a little bow.
Well, number 55 has been a little bit out of position. He's supposed to be an up guy, but he's not. He's playing down. He's only 220. Good strength, good technique, and a good tackle. A little tough to ride that man down, but he did it. Charles Wilson, 210, low center of gravity. Thomas took him down.
2nd and 11 after that loss of a yard. Howard and Cobb are the back. Howard is the fullback, blocking for Cobb. Inside the 20, and Willie Wyatt has him. Wyatt, again, the sophomore, leads the team in tackles. They say he's a Ribs fan. Well, we had some ribs the other night, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, by the truckload.
I'm a Ribs fan. I'm a big Ribs fan. I hope they don't go bad. I've got them in the trunk of my car.
Went to Dreamland down in Tuscaloosa, and some of our crew bought the barbecue sauce by the gallon to take back home. Keith Davis checks back in, number 28, the junior out of Nashville. 3rd and 8. Big 3rd down set offensively for Tennessee. They trail by 21. Flare by Francis is incomplete at the 15. I think he was a little timid there. He saw the coverage start to come up, and he threw it behind Davis.
Well, I think you're right, and I think there wasn't anything there. A good job by the Alabama defense. 3rd down, they got him in a predictable situation, and they covered people. That's what defense is all about.
They will spot the ball at about the 26. It'll be a 36-yard try. Rich on the year, 1 for 1, and 3 for 3 from this distance for his career out of a hold of Randy Sanders, a quarterback.
I'd be real aware of a fake here. You have to be.
On its way, it's up, and it is good. Tennessee chipping away. It was 24-0 Alabama. The Volunteers fighting to get back into this game. Let's take the timeout. Kylie, I'm Jim Kelly, and Dirk Berganoni will kick it off. He kicked off 8 times, Kevin, against Colorado State this year. 5 of those sailed into the end zone. Berganoni bangs it back into the end zone. It goes through Bobby Humphrey, and it'll be 1st and 10, Alabama. That scoring drive for Tennessee, their 2nd field goal on the night.
4:33. It took 11 plays, 56 yards. Late 2nd quarter, early here in the 3rd, they've established the fact that they can move the ball, but they're not going to win this game 3 points at a time. They need to get into the end zone. Tennessee.
First offensive series. Again, the time is being kept down on the field. The clock has been out almost the entire game. A little over 12 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Bama starts 1st and 10 from their own 20. Battle motion across. There goes Bobby Humphrey across the 25. Ziegler on the stop. Kevin, this is a big defensive series for Tennessee. They've been pushed around in the first half. We'll see if the offense taking the opening kickoff, going down and scoring, will kind of inspire the defense for a little gang tackling, maybe force a turnover.
Well, if emotion can help Tennessee, Jim, you're right. I think that their offense, getting 3 points will help them, but they need to get off blocks and be a little tougher up front, and that's what they need to do to stop Alabama.
Option by Dunn, and down he goes in the grasp of Darren Miller. Miller, 6'1", 227, the outside linebacker on the right side from Flemington, New Jersey.
Well, here's a good example of getting off blocks, reading the play. It's an option that has no chance. I see all the white hats coming, and they get him for a loss. Now, that's good team defense. Darren Miller leading the charge, but Tennessee has had a rap on him that maybe they don't get off the block so quickly, that when you get your shoulder pads on him, you hold them a little long. That time they didn't do it. They got off.
Hope that stuff washes out of his hair. 3rd and 7. Allen tells the play to Bobby Humphrey. Blitz. Dunn picks it up, fires, out of bounds, or did he drag the foot at the 40? Whitehurst makes a remarkable catch.
If this game is in Tennessee, you would hear howls from the crowd. We're way across the field. Safety blitz, everybody's coming. How about the poise of Dunn? Stands in there, knows he's going to get whacked. Now let's take a look at this.
1 foot's out.
Oh, woo, woo. Boy, let your toenails grow on that one. He made it by a hangnail.
You get turf toe on that kind of a catch, don't you? At the 40. 1st and 10. They lead by 18. Bama does. The fullback, Bo Wright.
You talk about a game of inches, you know, Jim, and it's such a cliche to talk about a game of inches, but when you see a replay like that, and a guy getting a reception on a drive like this, which is an important drive for Alabama early in the second half by his big toe, I think it really points out the fact that just an inch or two one way or the other, and the game can turn completely around.
Slot to the right. Stafford and Battle. Acceleration across the 50 down to the 48 and 47. Terry McDaniel, the left side cornerback on the stop. The hole on the right side opened up by Condon and Chatham, and then Humphrey just motored through.
And 85 crossed the tight end again on the corner, weak at the corner. Tennessee defense, and Humphrey 10 carries for 39 yards. Now look at how this thing opens up the seam. There's your contain, but where's the inside fill? There's no inside fill for you. Kelly did his job, number 44, but the rest of the guys not getting off and getting into the hole.
10 carries, 39 yards for number 26, Bobby Humphrey. Dunn. On 1st and 10 will scramble. Great catch by Humphrey out of the backfield, and another Bama 1st down at the 28. Victor Peppers, submarine Humphrey, who made one of those knee-top receptions. 18 yards and a 1st down.
Well, there's no way you can really cover this thing. Here's the inside backers for Tennessee. Gives Cross a little push. They're sitting there, but remember, you got Dunn running loose here. And that thing is, the needle is threaded, and Humphrey makes the great catch, but again, poised by the freshman Dunn.
Fullback, Bo Wright bangs it across the 25, down to the 24. Marion Hobby has him there.
Tennessee playing a little bit tougher on the inside. They've had that problem at the perimeter, and that's where Alabama attacked them last time Humphrey ran the ball. They've had a couple of bad breaks on the passing game. Alabama's just a little too precise. You know, Jim, that Dunn's father and mother went to Tennessee. He is the quarterback now for Alabama.
On each side of the field. Pitch back to Humphrey. Nothing doing. A loss of 2. 3rd and 9 coming up. Keith DeLong on the stop.
That's a good job by Dunn. Again, the center missed the snap count. It was Kirk. Snapped the ball early. Dunn held on to it. Was able to make the play. You notice the rest of the linemen didn't move. It was because it was the center that missed the snap. He snapped it early.
Man does not look like he has an 18-point lead. Bill Curry stalking the sideline.
It's a big play here. 3rd and long. Alabama yet to score in the second half.
3rd and 8. Dunn digs in.
Hold him out, hold him out, hold him
Middle's
out.
wide open. He flares it out, and it is almost picked off at the 12-yard line. Looking for Mirko Battle, the super sophomore, down at the 12, and back there in the coverage, Terry McDaniel had a shot at it.
That's excellent coverage by McDaniel. This guy, remember, this guy's a track guy. He's a sprinter, but he can also play defense, which is sometimes a little unusual. Playing deep, and look at the acceleration, how he comes and gets in front of the receiver. He's that quick.
He captured the Michigan State Championships in the 100 and 200-meter dash as a junior. There's Phil Doyle. This will be a 43-yard field goal try. Watch it. He nailed it. Out of the hold of Larry Abney, Doyle has had a big night. And Bama's up on top by 21 points. Midway through the 3rd quarter, the Crimson Tide is a-cruising. Kevin, you said it best a few minutes ago. Tennessee needs a touchdown to get back in this game. They can keep chipping away with field goals the rest of the night. They'll never catch it.
Yeah, Alabama will match their field goals. They've moved the ball well enough to get within range, and they have excellent field goal kickers. You're right, Jim. They have to get in the end zone quickly.
Alan Ward. Hash mark far side. Reggie Cobb is back in there. He's number 34 deep. Ward hangs it high at the 3. Dribbled by Cobb, picks it back up. Look out, Cobb, the freshman, on his way, tripped up from behind. That little dribble, and the coverage actually outran. We'll take a timeout with Bama leading by 21. About 6 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter, because the 25-second clock and the scoreboard clock have been out since almost this game began. Time is being kept down on the field, and time is starting to run out on the Volunteers of Tennessee. They need a touchdown. They start from their own 41. Francis, all kinds of time, safety valves it out, gets it to William Howard, and the Crimson Tide has him at the 45. We talked about that Alabama defense. There is defensive coordinator Don Lindsay. He was with Bill Curry at Georgia Tech, and in the 2 years that Tennessee played Georgia Tech, the last 2 years, Tennessee, Kevin, could only get 1 touchdown against Lindsay. And what they say is that the Crimson Tide defense will line up in any formation known to mankind.
Yeah, well, if there's royalty in defensive coordinators, that guy's got some blue blood in his veins. 10 years at USC, 6 Rose Bowls, 2 national titles. That's one of the great defensive coordinators in the country. And you have to remember, when he came to Alabama, they only had, we talked about Jelks moving to defensive back. They only had 4 defensive backs on scholarship when Curry and his guys came in here, so they had to move Jelks. I mean, there was a personnel problem here at Alabama, and he's done a great job tonight.
There is Jelks, number 22, ran a punt back for 63 yards. There goes Mr. Wyatt, excuse me, the leading tackler for Alabama.
He's had a whale of a game, Jim. That guy has been in the backfield all night. That's a big loss for Alabama. We've got Whetstone and Derek Rushton backing him up, but he's a guy that I don't believe they can replace. They are thin when it comes to linemen. Linemen are the hardest guys to recruit because they're so big. Where are you going to find a big, strong 260-pounder about 6'5"? There are not too many of them out there.
Well, Darrell Whetstone replaces him. He's 6'4", 256, one of 8 kids out of Montgomery. On 2nd and 6, Francis can't waste time, unloads it out, got his man out of the backfield, William Howard, and he's rattling for big yardage inside the 25, down to the 22. Kermit Kendrick has him there.
They call William Howard Mr. Clutch. He makes the big plays. Watch the receivers run the coverage off, turning their back on the quarterback. Now remember, Francis was scrambling. You don't ever turn your back. You've got to look over your shoulder. Francis came up to the line, pulled more coverage up, and here comes Mr. Clutch loose on the sideline. All 240 pounds of him.
They ran him 16 straight plays against Ole Miss last year to save a victory. They'll run him again, and Tommy Cole's got him. Mr. Clutch missed a couple of the spring practices with a pulled hamstring.
Handoff on this play. I think they almost fumbled. It looked like he put it on Howard's hip. Francis, when he hands him, let's take a look at this. Yeah, see how it's short? See how he put it right on his left hip, and that's what cost him. He had to take a stutter step again quickly. He had to reach. See, he never did get that handoff there.
Paid for Barry Blackstone at Lima, Ohio. It's 2nd down and 9. Passing situation as Francis looks over the Bama defense. Quickly gets it over to Terrence Cleveland. Cleveland down at the 8-yard line. Jelks banged him there. Johnny Majors, things heating up now. This is a big touchdown drive.
It's almost as if the clock being broken is helping Tennessee. I think it helps keep their mind on their offense, and they don't worry so much about time running out as they do running the offense. This thing's been on 15 minutes the whole game.
Running down toward the Tennessee end of the stadium where the Volunteer orange and white are. Keith Davis upended at the 5, loose football, and Bama's got it. Jelks.
They're trying to run it into the short side. Again, now Davis, a good back, but he gets stripped of the ball, and Jelks, the offensive halfback, caught the receiver and the runner. He caught the ball. Now, I guess that's the benefit of moving a guy over. He's got those great reflexes.
There goes Bobby Humphrey, tripped up as he dives to about the 8-yard line. Keith DeLong tripped him up. That's the 4th turnover against Tennessee.
And the guy that does it is Derek Thomas, number 55. There he is, gets his hand in there on Davis, on the ball, and pulls it loose. When you're that close to the goal line, you need to get both hands on the ball, cradle it, get it tucked up under there. That type of thing, you really need to protect the ball.
Great reaction by Jelks, too. I mean, he saw the ball and you saw his hands move right forward. A lot of players would have been complying. 2nd and 9. Humphrey had trouble. Tossed it up himself on the exchange, and look out! Kelly Days chased him out of bounds. Talk about reaction. Almost a missed exchange between Dunn and Humphrey.
We talked about this all night, Jim, how they like to run to cross. You're right, this thing was fumbled. The exchange just a little bit, 2 blocks, a little slow block, and then coming out on the linebacker and holding him up just long enough for this man, Humphrey, to turn the corner and go up the field. And that, I'll tell you, I give that to Howard Cross on Kelly Ziegler. 12 carries for 60 yards now for Humphrey. Good play by Cross.
They'll keep it on the ground, work on the clock. Why not? They've got a 21-point lead, 27-6. Johnson on the stop of Humphrey. Bobby Humphrey, for all of his explosiveness, all of his aggressiveness, is not just a game player. He will practice the same way. He loves to practice. Brings the same game face to practice as he does on Saturday night.
Well, we asked Bill Curry earlier during the week about Bobby Humphrey, and there were some comments made about the team not being ready to play. And he said Bobby Humphrey's a great player and a great team player. Got the I Like to Practice award, and that says a lot for him.
You got that at Wyoming one day.
Yeah, that's all I did was practice.
Tripped up at the 35-yard line is Bo Wright. Charles McCray, the middle guard, has him there. The freshman from Clinton, Texas. There is Johnny Majors, whose dad watched a rather uninspired Tennessee game against Ole Miss one time in Memphis, and Johnny asked his dad what he thought, and he said, "Son, you outstunk them. It's not worth talking about." 3rd and 5. Incomplete at the 45, looking for Whitehurst on a slant-in post pattern. Ball a little bit low and behind, kind of like a bad slider.
Yeah. He's got a right to throw a bad one there in this game. It is a guy we haven't seen too much of today.
Haven't seen too much at all. Chris Moore. That's the first time you've seen it. And back deep, Andre Creamer. He averages about 7 yards. They get the block try on. He just got it away. Creamer watches it hit at the 29 and takes a bounce backwards. So we've got just over a quarter left here in Birmingham, a 21-point lead for the Tide. On ESPN today. 1st and 10 at the 35. Francis, airborne. Batted up the volleyball drill, picked off Alabama again. Turnover number 5. Lydell Mitchell, the senior from Pritchard, Alabama, with the INT.
Well, here it is, right into coverage. The worst thing can happen. Everybody's there, and the ball gets up in the air. And look at the Alabama defense. 6 guys. 6 guys in the middle here. Now, here's Anthony Miller. Let's take a look and see where he was. Down the road. But the reaction, that's a little deceiving there, you see, because there was a safety man, and people reacting after the ball was thrown.
From the 48, 1st and 10, Alabama going for the juggler now. Dunn airmails it. Caught inside the 5. Clay Whitehurst. 43 yards, might have been deflected by Peppers.
Peppers is short. He's only about 5'8". He lost sight of the ball for a minute, and really that's the difference. He had to jump so high. He could only get a hand on it and tip it up, and the ball caught by Whitehurst. And there's Dunn, who's having the night of his life. First start.
1st and goal from the 5. Goal from the 4. Doug Allen, hammer. You have to start putting yourself in Johnny Major's head right now. If Alabama gets a touchdown, suddenly you're behind by 28 points, playing at Legion Field in Birmingham. How many deficits do you dig yourself out of?
Well, there are some things that can't be done. I think we have a tendency of looking at a football game and trying to decide strategy at times, when basically you've just got to get back to your offense and hope for a miracle. And he may be approaching that point.
An offense that's only scored 2 field goals. It'll be a 28-point lead after Humphrey takes it in. Great night for that man and for Coach Bill Curry. A lot of criticism all week. But Bill said the other day, you never really lose unless you accept it. A loss just gets you ready for the next game. You think Bama wasn't ready for this one? Doyle's been perfect all night. In fact, Alabama's been perfect all night. Another look at number 26.
The best thing about this is Humphrey has not done it all tonight. Again, the perimeter. Again, they go outside on Tennessee. And Humphrey's speed with a block from Doug Allen, number 46, takes it in.
Those pictures tell it all if you're a Volunteer fan. Legion Field is rocking in a sea of crimson, red, and white. Nobody could have predicted that 8th-ranked Tennessee would come in and be trailing by 28 points with just over a quarter left. They were 4-0-1. Bill Curry, 1-1 coming in. He said nobody can affect your attitude unless you allow it. Well, their attitude was positive all week. Reggie Cobb is back deep again. Alan Ward will kick off again. It is high, it is deep, it is end over end, and Cobb will bring it out 3 yards deep. Might have made a mistake.
Some would say that, but I think that
I would.
When you have a, well, let me give you the other side of that. When you have a great runner like Cobb, the kickoff is an offensive play, and when you're trailing by 28 points, you have an offensive play and a chance to get a guy like that in the open field. I think you should take it, even if you give up some yardage. So I believe that that was the thing to do.
That's the end of the third quarter. Alabama 34, 8th ranked Tennessee 6. We'll take time out and be back with his great SEC rivalry. Along with Kevin Kiley, I'm Jim Kelly, and welcome back to Birmingham. A 28-point lead, or a 28-point deficit for the Volunteers. Bending in is Jeff Francis. He's gone all the way. They can't waste time. It's batted backwards. It's 2nd and 10. Watch Bobby Humphrey, who grew up right here in Birmingham playing football and basketball. He played cards, going fishing. Those are his hobbies. Here's his last touchdown. He used to be a vendor right here at Legion Field.
So Cokes.
Yep.
Jim grew up across the street, and he said that the more excited the crowd got, the more Cokes people bought. And he made about $50 a night. And what Bobby says now is every time he scores, he feels good for the kids in the stand selling Cokes because he knows they sell more Cokes.
2nd and 10 from the 10. Deflected, and this one is almost picked off again at the 15-yard line. Raymer, the freshman, number 49, back in the coverage.
Now what you're seeing here is the danger of falling behind by 28 points to a team that has excellent athletes, and no matter how good your passing game is, becoming predictable. These guys are covered, and Francis has got to force it into them.
Carolyn Curry, Bill Curry's wife, just went behind our ESPN broadcast booth blowing kisses. Big smile. Met Carolyn last night. She was here watching that high school game. They had a big press reception. Francis needs 10. Fires up near the 18-yard line and falling forward to the 20, but shy of first down yardage goes Terrence Cleveland. Mike Smith, the junior out of Gainesville, Florida, on the stop.
Oh, nice job by Terrence. 5'8", 149 pounds. He was able to drive, even though he was short, and put his shoulder down.
Now, how about this? 4th and less than a yard. You're behind by 28 points, and you punt. You like the call?
I really don't know what I would do. To be absolutely honest with you, I don't know that the offense has really shown an ability to get a yard in this game, so I don't know what I would do.
I think you've got to go for a yard. You punt the ball away, you might not get it back again for 4 more minutes. You give it to him in good field position. At the 43-yard line. Of course, obviously, they were hoping for a turnover.
Yeah, now after he dropped it, I think it's indicative. I think another thing you have to consider is that I don't think Johnny Majors wants to get his team blown out. The rest of the season is very important at Tennessee, and he doesn't want to lose 50-6, and if he starts giving up 20-yard drives, he could very well.
Storyline Birmingham, 17 points off of turnovers early. Jeff Dunn, the freshman, having a career night. Bobby Humphrey, what you expect. And Tennessee on the ground, non-existent.
Well, that's been a key. They fell behind so early and so badly that they never did establish the running game.
Dunn bends in. Jeff Dunn, the freshman from Greensboro. Keep it on the ground. Bobby Humphrey hurls forward to the 48-yard line. And a penalty flag is down to be checked out. Bear Bryant, Hall of Fame legend, of course, in Alabama and nationwide, had this quote. Find out what type of person you were when you played against Tennessee. Well, he certainly would be proud of Jeff Dunn. They found out tonight what he's made of, the freshman, doing an outstanding job. What poise.
About the last 10 yards, 12 minutes, and 50 seconds left.
Doesn't take much to get players motivated when you play at Alabama. All you've got to do is show that houndstooth cap.
Well, I think, too, as you look at Curry, I'll tell you after this play, I think it was good that Alabama came back from the Memphis State game with Tennessee. It helped them.
First and 15 after 5 yards walked off against Bama. They've got the ball and a 28-point lead. Dunn on a rope finds Clay Whitehurst. How about that throwing on first and 15 with a 28-point advantage? McDaniel back on the coverage.
And so technically sound. You look at Bill Curry, and Bill Curry, very frankly, was not all that concerned. The Wolves were starting to come out. He lost to Memphis State, but coming back in probably one of the biggest rivalries you'll ever find in college football the following week, no problem motivating the team. Actually a benefit to Alabama. They could forget about Memphis State almost immediately and look forward to Tennessee.
Whiteside, 4 catches, 79 yards. The fullback, Doug Allen, cracks it over the middle, blocking up front by Schultz, Condon, and Rose. Kimbrough on the stop. Back to Bill Curry for a second, Kevin. If there was a criticism of Bill, some say he's too loyal. But he told us at practice the other day, he said, now, I fired some of my best friends when they didn't get the job done. And he said, it's not their fault, it's my fault. I hired the wrong man for the job.
Well, the criticism was at Georgia Tech early in his career that he stayed with assistant coaches too long. He's heard it. He answered. He said, absolutely not. If a guy doesn't do the job for me, I'll fire him whether I love him or not.
But then Bill adds that around successful programs, you'll hear that same criticism. Coaches like to have the same assistants around them. 3rd and 5. Dunn backpedals, looks, down he goes at the 41-yard line. The Volunteers will get the ball back. A loss of 8. Again, the time is being kept on the field. Scoreboard clock has been out. But the only stat that matters right now is a 28-point lead for the Crimson.
And they're going to come after this punt.
Chris Moore punting for just the 2nd time on the night. Creamer is back deep. Andre looks for it at the 22. Got it there, and the Crimson Tide have him. A 37-yard punt. There was no return. The Volunteers ball when we come back. 25 left to go in this game. Volunteers will start from their own 22-yard line, trailing by a whopping 28 points. Tennessee came in 4-0-1, ranked number 8 in the country.
Let's go, Carl, defense!
Again, a long count in the audible.
Out of bounds!
Complete to Woods, out of bounds. Well, there we are up in the broadcast booth. Kevin Kiley with the wave. I'm Jim Kelly. It was 24 years ago today, October 17th, 1953. Tennessee and Alabama played, and right in this booth, 2 very famous alums from Tennessee and from Alabama. Mel Allen did the play-by-play. Lindsey Nelson did the color. Each from the opposite school. They stood side by side, toe to toe. The game ended in a tie, and when it was over, Mel Allen closed off the broadcast and said, Linz, we're still friends. First down at the 41-yard line. Nate Middlebrooks, tackled by Shannon Felder.
Well, Jim, we've only got about 12 minutes to go. I hope we can keep our friendship until then.
We've got a second. Lindsey Nelson back in Knoxville, Tennessee, watching tonight's game. Lindsey, all the best to you. It was good to see you at one of those Tennessee games for so long. One of the great broadcasters of all time. The audible by Francis. Safety valves it out. Caught by Howard. Howard hammers his way out of bounds at the 49 of Alabama.
Complete. Howard. Howard goes out of bounds.
A lot of big upsets, including this one going on. Georgia losing to Vanderbilt.
Osmond made the tackle.
Florida State, no problem against Howard Schnellenberger and Louisville. Memphis State
That is out for the official.
by 11 against Tulane. UTEP by 10 against Lamar. Zip to zip, Oregon State and Arizona. They will measure to see if it was a first down. And while they do, let's see how the 2 quarterbacks have done tonight. Francis and Dunn.
I think a lot has to be said for the line of Alabama. Dunn has had a lot of time to throw. He really hasn't been pressured, and that was something that you fear with a young quarterback.
But the difference, the 3 turnovers, and Dunn has a 90-yard touchdown pass.
Well, certainly the efficiency factor, Dunn way ahead. He's been so efficient, and he's so crisp in his handling of the offense, and a leader tonight.
It was a first down from the 48 of Alabama. The Volunteers scrapping to get back into the game. They need a couple of quick scores. Francis airmails it, picked off. That's the 6th turnover. Greg Gilbert, the junior from Decatur, 6'2", 205, comes up with another interception.
The passes that he's tried to float in, his touch has not been good tonight. Francis, I'm talking. Now, this is a ball he has to drop over the defense, and look, he's just not getting it done. Those passes are very, very short, and it's about the 3rd one he's thrown like that tonight that just has not gotten over the defense. 6th turnovers, 4 of them interceptions. Not a good night for Francis. A tough night for the good young quarterback. A good, very good young quarterback, I might add.
1st and 10, Alabama from their own 35. Around 11 minutes left to go. Dunn will put it up. Wide open. Whitehurst, again, his 7th reception, and he's tackled close to midfield. A pickup of 12.
12 yards, 1st down, Alabama.
You get the feeling Bill Curry's starting to enjoy this, throwing on 1st and 10 with a 28-point lead.
The thing about Curry that amazes me is that we were in his office. He was so calm and feeling like, and he had problems, folks. I mean, quarterback problems, linebacker problems, and he came into this big game and handled them all.
Another 1st and 10. There goes Bobby Humphrey hammering his way inside Volunteer territory again, down at the 47. Brian Hunt, the senior middle linebacker out of DeSoto, Texas, on the stop.
That line, Larry Rose and Condon up front. Number 77, Condon loose in the secondary. Not good. And Humphrey knows where to go. He gets right between those 7s and pushes his way for 74 yards and 15 carries. He's also scored a touchdown. But he has not done it all, and that's been a key for Alabama.
And helped sell some soft drinks for his fellow vendors. On 2nd and 4, there goes Doug Allen. He's 5'9", 200 pounds.
We just talked about Condon. Now, he's a great, great offensive lineman, but there's more to this story. A couple of years ago, he was stabbed in the back at a rock concert. Then last spring, he blew up his knee, had major reconstructive surgery. They said, there's no way this guy will be back in what appears to be a medical miracle. I may be overdoing it. Not only is he back, but he's playing very well and a leader for Alabama, doing a fine job on the offensive line.
Dives for another Alabama 1st down. Darren Miller on the stop. I would say the tide is in. And for Francis, there will be better days.
1st down, Alabama. Taylor made the tackle for Tennessee. 9 minutes.
The ball at the 42-yard line of Tennessee. The game has been played almost entirely in Volunteer territory. Whitehurst at the top of the screen, and Pierre Gu down at the bottom. Humphrey. The tail of the 10, Lindsay would say. Down to the 33-yard line where Tony Nelson made the stop. Big block by 46. Watch Doug Allen, the senior here, 5'9", 200 pounds, throw the block, partner.
He and Chapman on the outside. Here's the block that Jim's talking about on the outside, but if you saw behind that, Terrell Chapman, number 7, he just blasted, almost knocked him out of bounds, and that's been the story of the game. Again, outside tackle, the perimeter. Tennessee didn't stop it last year, and they've had an awful time with it this year.
Marion Hobby has him there. How about Bill Curry in his 1st year at Alabama? Replaced Ray Perkins, who went down to Tampa Bay to coach the Bucks. Took over, walked into the office, saw wood parquet floors, saw 5 Oriental rugs, picked up the phone, called Ray Perkins and said, what kind of a man has an ego that needs an office like this?
And signed the contract before he'd seen the office. He took the job before he had seen the facilities. And folks, these are as good of facilities as you'll see anywhere in the country.
He said it jokingly. Bill and Ray are good friends. But it's a rather impressive sight. And we asked Bill what it's like to recruit when you have a youngster come in there. Dunn unloads. Receiver turned it outside, was bumped out of bounds, incomplete. Well, you walk into that office where they have statues of Bear Bryant. They have national championship rings mounted behind a glass case. Wood parquet floors. Looks like a banker investment office. Not too tough to recruit a young man, is it?
No, you could throw a 20-yard out in there if you wanted to try him out right in the office.
But the one thing besides a great office, and the most important thing that Ray Perkins left as his legacy here at Alabama, a great academic support system. The best Bill Curry said he's ever seen. 8:20 left to go. Humphrey. Whoops. They got him by the jersey. Penalty flag is down. Tracy Hayworth, the sophomore, on the stop. He was recruited as a tight end. We don't see too many linebackers wearing number 88. And in the secondary, Terry McDaniel wears number 86.
Watch Hayworth, number 88, playing off the block, doing a good job this time, but getting held. As you can see, holding the shirt didn't help. He's able to get out and get Humphrey, close him down. And one of the few times tonight that Tennessee has gotten off the blocks and made the play on the outside.
Alabama still has 10 yards for holding.
Penalty against Alabama, backs up the Tide to the 41-yard line. About 8 minutes left to go. 8th-ranked Tennessee stunned by Alabama. The 70th renewal of this classic rivalry in the SEC.
Sit down.
By Bowden and by Dunn, who will put it up. Humphrey at the 37-yard line. Tackle secure by Kelly Ziegler.
It's the guy Richard Cooper. Now, Cooper has been one of the stalwarts of the Tennessee defense the entire year. He's having a great year. He did not start tonight because they switch off, but he's a guy that was tossed off the team at the end of spring practice because of his attitude. They let him come back, take the physical test. He passed. He's completely reversed himself. Andre Creamer was another one, completely reversed himself, changed his entire attitude, and now is a big part of the team. My hat's off to him.
Rushing tonight. 3rd and 16. The freshman dumps it off. Incomplete. Looking for Humphrey out on the flat. Pressure by Hayworth and by Cooper, the man that Kevin was just talking about. Watch 77 and 88 chasing down Jeff Dunn.
And also, you have to watch Dunn. And one thing you can tell about a great quarterback is he feels pressure. Watch Dunn. Dunn sees it coming. He just naturally drifts away from the pressure. There are quarterbacks that don't do that. In his first start, it's instinctive. Guys have it. He's got the ability.
Rich, who owns a 52-yarder, or Doyle, excuse me, this is Doyle. On its way. Short and wide to the right. Philip Doyle out of Birmingham missed, so the score stands 34-6. Tennessee trails big. Nobody could have predicted this one, Kevin Kiley.
No, certainly not. I didn't. Thought this would go right down to the wire.
Well, you haven't predicted one.
Yeah, I'll get one. How many we got left?
About 7.
Oh, I'll get one.
Colorado, Oklahoma next week.
I'm not picking that tonight. No, I'll wait 3 minutes.
1st and 10 for the Volunteers, and it's almost picked off again. John Rollins. Well, we talked about the SEC schedule. Kevin pointed out that in the SEC you don't play everybody every year.
And that sometimes can be a problem. LSU 3-0 will be at Ole Miss as of tonight. Alabama, Mississippi State. Those are the games that they have left. As you see, they do not play Auburn this year. Auburn 1-0-1. You saw that. Alabama will be 2-1 after they win this game, which they certainly will. Kentucky lost today. They're 1-1. And then Georgia.
Francis again, airborne again, chased out of the pocket again. Unloads on a safety valve to Charles Wilson. Bumped out at the 42-yard line by George Bethune.
Tough night for Francis. This is a hard night for a quality quarterback to have to eat something like this. When the team gets down so quickly, I think that punt return by Jelks just absolutely paralyzed the Tennessee team. They were down 14-0 in front of a hostile crowd and stunned, and they played that way.
Francis needs 4. Wants more over the middle, and he's got it for a first down at the 33. Nate Middlebrooks. Or John Rollins. It's Rollins out of Knoxville. John Mangum on the stop.
Well, Rollins is a walk-on tight end. The reason you see these patterns is because Alabama, again, I said at halftime, they'll give you that thing because they know they can surround the carrier of the ball, keep him in the field, and let the time run. And that's why the defense plays the perimeter.
From the 33, Francis looks, fires, first down at the 13 to Terrence Cleveland.
Now, there was a pass, Jim. Now, there was a pass that he's had trouble with all night. He did get it over the defense. Not much pressure from Alabama. They're playing pass defense. Now, this is something he had to touch on this when he was able to get it over the short part of the defense. See that? And to Cleveland. Cleveland goes out of bounds. The defense giving him that and him executing. Good play.
Howard, the lone back. Francis, post pattern, incomplete in the end zone for Terrence Cleveland, who has 4 catches, 64 yards on the night. Georgia goes back on top. The Bulldogs ranked number 17. Memphis State stunning Tulane again in the second quarter. And back to the fourth quarter here from the 13-yard line. Francis looks over what's been a crushing Crimson defense tonight. At the 5, now down to the 4 goes Vincent Moore, a freshman out of Memphis. Kermit Hendrick on the stop. Hurry up offense for the Volunteers. They go without a huddle. And they have some confusion as Moore now, who just made the reception, doesn't know quite where to line up.
But see what they did? They made the Alabama defense line up immediately. This is something I think they should have gone to earlier.
6 minutes left to go in the game. Francis puts it out there for Howard. It took Howard a long time to get to the football. Robert Stewart got to Howard almost immediately.
So by the time they decided what they were going to do offensively, they might as well have gone back into the huddle. But you saw what Alabama had to do. They had to protect the wide side of the field. They went right into their defensive alignment. It was just confusion on Tennessee's part.
Johnny Majors, whose mom is 73 years young, still drives to Knoxville. Johnny said she doesn't miss many games anymore. From the 2. Howard, he did all that on his own. Touchdown, Tennessee. Tommy Cole had Howard wrapped up at about the 3, and Howard just kept those knees churning out of Lima, Ohio.
Well, here's a guy in 1986. He was 3rd in the conference in rushing. He's 240 pounds. He led the SEC in scoring, and that's why when he gets close to the end zone, his nose goes right for that end zone. Couldn't have had a better picture of it there. Tough.
And the Volunteers trailing by, well, right now by 22 points. We'll go for a 2-point conversion. Motion by Woods, split out by Francis. Woods, and the 2-point conversion is good. A lot of poise for the Volunteers, but it might be too little too late. Bama leads by 20. Tennessee, Kevin, will go 4-1-1. Alabama will go one more victory in the win column and climb back into that SEC title picture. And there are a lot of bowl scouts here. Jim Brock from the Cotton Bowl, lots of folks from the Sugar Bowl. I think there are about, what, 12 or 13 bowl scouts here scouting both teams.
And a lot of potential bowl teams in the SEC. I mean, you could probably blindfold yourself and point a finger at the schedule, the SEC lineup, and pick a team that would do well in the bowl. This is top to bottom a quality conference.
Do you onside kick? Yes, you do. Adam Epstein. Will squib it, and Bama's got it at the 46-yard line. It's been John Mangum's night. There's the young freshman, Jeff Dunn, out of Greensboro. Played a flawless night and shown an awful lot of poise. Not easy playing here before virtually a home crowd after a big upset last week by Memphis State. Pressure, a lot of eyes on the Crimson. See how they respond to that loss. They fake the end around. There's a load down at the 36-yard line. Kimbrough's got him. Johnny Major. His dad was a high school punter. His dad was a football coach. He coached men's and women's basketball and baseball.
Yeah. And Johnny Major's talking to him. He talks a lot about his dad, Shirley, at Huntland High School, and the fact that he played against his dad once. His dad said, My boys will never beat me again, and they all went to his school the next year, and they had a tremendous winning streak. It's a great family and great tradition in Tennessee.
Wayne Shaw cracks it straight ahead. Johnny Majors, as a freshman, scored 2 touchdowns against his dad. And some of the coaching highlights, of course, that national championship at Pitt. They went 11-0. They had the Heisman Trophy winner and Tony Dorsett.
Well, the story about that Iowa State job, he called his dad before he took the job. He was undecided. And his dad said, sounds like you want to take the job. The only thing I can tell you is lay your ears back and go after it. He's been doing it ever since. He's one of the more successful coaches ever in college football.
On 2nd and 6, Alabama by 20. Bobby Humphrey explodes around that right side for a gain of 7. Kelly Ziegler has him there. Well, you know, talking about that great record, there is Bobby Humphrey, the great record of Johnny Major. Paul Bear Bryant was a great influence on Johnny Major's life, as well as his father. Paul Bryant tried to recruit Johnny Major to go not only to Alabama, but tried to get him to go to Kentucky. When Bear Bryant was the coach there, tried to recruit Johnny and his brothers. Humphrey, 20 carries, 106 yards now, has cracked the century mark. Working on the clock as Bo Wright goes over the left side behind Rose, Bentley, and Schultz. DeLong on another stop. Keith DeLong, whose dad was an All-American defensive end at Tennessee.
Remember, it's earlier talking about point differential. I think it's important for the Tennessee players to come out of this game thinking they could have won the game had they done this, and this. And that's why the difference between 34-14 and maybe 49-6 is important. Important for the coaching, important for the rest of the year.
Battle in motion. Dunn just keeps it himself. And Tracy Hayward made the tackle. Marion Hobby also helped out.
Hobby made the tackle.
There's the Alabama record when Bobby Humphrey rushes for 100 yards or more, 8-2. Another one to make it 9-2. And there goes Bobby Humphrey. He'll sell some more soda.
Yeah, I'll take 2.
Every time he scores, he thinks about the vendors in the stands because he was one. And as Kevin said, they always sold more after Alabama scored. Crimson Tide fans like to hoop and holler.
This is the toss pitch out of the eye. They ran it 28 times last year. They could have run it all night and did tonight. And again, it results in a touchdown. Tennessee needs to go back to the drawing board on their perimeter defense.
Philip Doyle. He may have turf toe from doing so much kicking, field goals and extra points. Out of the hold of Larry Abney. Great night for Doyle, the freshman from Birmingham. Bobby Humphrey goes for another. Alabama leads by 27. At a dreamland, woofing down those ribs and that white bread and the sauce, didn't you?
I was just thinking the exact same thing. But I take some of that soup, too. I eat that soup.
Ward kicking it, and Cobb catching it, then dropping it at the 9. Scoops it up, back to the 15, and the 17. How about Alabama's all-time rushers? There have been some great ones. And Bobby Humphrey is just 2 yards away from the all-time Crimson record. 21 carries, 127 yards on the night, 2 touchdowns. 2 more yards. Think he'll get a crack at it?
Oh, tonight? How much time left? This clock's been broken since the first quarter. What quarter is it? It's 2 minutes, 2:25 left. Just kidding.
From the 17, 1st and 10, Tennessee. Francis has gone the whole way. Great diving catch at the 26 by McGuire, the senior from Memphis, a transfer from UTEP.
This is that cross-field pass that Francis has thrown so well in the past. This one not a great pass, but certainly a great catch by McGuire. Tennessee players still trying. Again, the psychological aspect of this can't be understated, how important it is that they get something positive out of this game in spite of the score.
First down at the 45-yard line. Nate Middlebrooks. Quite a story here for Vernon Wilkerson, who's actually, Kevin, in his 6th year. Because?
Well, because the NCAA granted him an extra year. He was in that automobile accident, the tragic accident in which George Scrubs was killed a few years ago. It was last year. It was in spring of 1985, a couple of years ago. And what happened was he was not ready to play after a year, and he was a great player prior to the accident. The NCAA, in a rare move, they rarely do that, granted him an extra year. And Wilkerson is the last player that Bear Bryant recruited at Alabama. So with Wilkerson goes the end of the Bear Bryant era, at least where the players are concerned. A great player in his time. He has not fully recovered from the accident. He's not back to the form he once was in.
Francis, safety valves it out to William Howard. Francis now 23 of 38, but 4 interceptions. Wilkerson, by the way, one of 9 children. Played football at Troy State, 4-year starter there. Can you imagine being the last player that Bear Bryant recruited?
I would have loved to have been the last player that Bear Bryant. I would love to be associated with that man in any way. And in fact, as you go around town in Tuscaloosa, which we did the other day, the love is overwhelming and the tributes on every corner for Bear Bryant. He certainly made an impact on college football and on the University of Alabama. Understatement.
Drop at midfield. Middlebrooks. Just to go back to the Bear for just a second. He had an impact on both Bill Curry and on Johnny Majors. And the one thing you hear as you go around the country and talk to the coaches, that Bear Bryant would always call you back. He always had time to talk to you. He would be considerate. Johnny Majors, as you see on the screen right there, said every time he talked to Bear Bryant would say, "How's your dad?" That was the first thing that Paul would say. And Bill Curry echoed those same sentiments. He always willing to help the young coaches.
Curry talked about coaches. He was exposed to some great coaching.
Close to first down yardage at the 44 goes Howard. Ramers got him there. Triple header Saturday on ESPN. Coming up next, San Jose State and Fresno State. Jim Sweeney's Bulldogs like to throw the ball. San Jose State does too. Greg Papa and Dave Logan will have it for you next. Hurry up offense for Tennessee. Francis down at the 40-yard line. Well, it all starts at 11:30 Eastern time with Tim Brando on game day every Saturday. Tim, did Bino buy you breakfast today?
Now I have to wait for him to go.
Pecan waffles.
Hey, I got a Slim Jim. I got him a Slim Jim for breakfast.
Here are tonight's updated standings. LSU won, no problem. Alabama also won, no problem. Tennessee with a huge problem, their first loss. And we said at the very top of the telecast, Kevin, maybe the toughest football conference in the country, top to bottom.
If not the toughest, certainly the most evenly matched. Although I'd say the Big Ten has certainly come around, and they are evenly matched to that tie that Tennessee has now could hurt them, where it might have helped them before tonight.
On 2nd and 7, Francis backpedals, loops it out in the flat, out of bounds at the 33. Howard on the completion. Clock is stopped with about 1:05 left to go. Now we've been talking about Bill Curry. He took a little break from coaching for 3 years to become a television sportscaster in Atlanta. He was writing his evening copy one night. Said the so-and-so suffered a tragic loss. The news director gave him the hook, brought him into the office, said there's no such thing as a tragic loss.
Yeah, that's right. Talk about perspective. I like the comment. We were talking to him about the game, and I like the comment where he said, yeah, I understand all these stupid questions because I had to ask them when I was a sportscaster. So he answered them all nicely. What did he say? He said, I understand why you have to ask these stupid questions.
65 pounds lighter than when he was a center for Bart Starr.
Talk about Starr. Excuse me, Jim. Talk about Starr and Unitas and all the Lombardi and Shula. This guy has been around about everybody that ever played the game that was anybody.
Francis now 25 of 41, 316 yards, 4 interceptions, up top again. Looks to the sideline, incomplete. Talking about Bill Curry's background, besides a great career in the pros, he was also the president of the NFL Players Association. Not a job you'd want to have today.
No, but a job I think you might have wanted to have. All the exposure and the things that he has done certainly makes him a candidate, a qualified candidate for just about anything. And the coach at Alabama, you need to be qualified. Plus, he can stand the pressure, and he's had it this week. He stood up under it. So has his team.
Second and 10. Francis looks, fires over the middle, got his man inside the 10. That's John Rollins. Touchdown. Rollins kept fighting, and the Volunteers on the board. A 33-yard scoring strike from that man, number 19, Jeff Francis, as he found Rollins, the big junior tight end out of Knoxville. Stewart and Smith, but Rollins slipped in between them.
Well, you may have found a star here. Now, Rollins, the Middlebrook, is not all that solid in his position. Good pass by Francis, but this is all Rollins. A walk-on. They say limited size, not great speed, but a lot of heart. And to be a walk-on as he walks into the end zone, you need all that. You may see him in the starting lineup shortly because he's caught 2 tough ones in this game.
Rollins, 3 receptions, 58 yards, all this half. The 2-point conversion try coming up. Same play they ran last time. Francis looks for Woods, and it's caught in the end zone for a 2-point conversion. The second play, Woods did a nice job of coming back and helping out Francis.
I was going to say that, Jimmy adjusted, and that was what they didn't do early in the game.
Any question in your mind, partner, who the player of the game should be? How about the freshman quarterback for the Crimson Tide?
Absolutely no question. He was the trigger guy. Without him, I don't believe they could have even gotten started. The first drive made him the MVP as far as I was concerned, and he's played just remarkably well. And there's more talent behind him. They have Sutton, and they've got the other freshman quarterback, Billy Ray, so they do have some talent.
Jeff Dunn out of Greensboro, our Hartford Insurance player of the game. Another onside kick. Adam Epstein in there once again. 41-22 our score.
Well, the late drives, the second half for Tennessee, extremely important. Like I said, you go back and you say, you know, if I'd have made that block or if I'd have caught that ball, we might have had it if he hadn't returned that punt. You have to believe in your team, and your team has to believe in themselves. And I believe that the final score, this 41-22, will help Tennessee go back and handle this loss and believe that they're a good football team and that they can go through the rest of their schedule unbeaten. You have to believe that, and that's why you need to play 60 minutes no matter what the score is.
Certainly one loss would not damage their bowl bid at all. How they respond will be the key. Epstein bangs it up, loose football down. It's still loose. Big scramble for it at the 43, and Bama has recovered. They have played just about a mistake-proof football game. And who got it? Jelks, number 22.
Hands Jelks. They're going to start calling him. That was a pretty good onside kick, too. It had that last ugly bounce that you look for in an onside kick.
40 seconds remaining.
Billy Ray, the freshman out of Atlanta, 6'4", 198 pounds, a bit of a string bean in their quarterback now, but they like his gun. He's got a rifle-like arm. Pitch back. That is David Castile. So maybe Bobby Humphrey will not get the record.
Well, you have to talk about the offensive line. Again, they did it on that play. Rose, Bentley, Schultz, and Condon, and Chapman. Terrell Chapman, number 70, all blocking for that man. Just did a remarkable job all night on the Tennessee people, and they overpowered them most of the game.
Wrestled down at the 47-yard line by Tracy Hayward. Well, Bill Curry gave us the quote earlier. Nobody can affect your attitude without your permission. And how you rebound from a loss. Well, they rebounded just fine after that upset by Memphis State. And Tennessee, Kevin, you can expect will rebound as well. Johnny Majors has too much talent not to.
Two of the great programs in the country. We talked about the tradition at the head of the show. He's new to the tradition, but he's been a winner. He turned the Georgia Tech program around. And he turned it around in 1 week here, losing to Memphis State. Devastating to Alabama fans, but not devastating to Bill Curry. He was able to get the team ready. They came back, and they pounded Tennessee pretty good early in this game.
Let's go back, too, partner, to what we talked about at the very top of the telecast, that no team has ever won the SEC championship without beating the other. When Alabama and Tennessee gets together, a leg up. And, of course, they've got to get Mike Archer and LSU with an unbeaten 3-0 record in the conference.
Well, I have to think about being a player and what it would mean to me to be a player in the locker room before the game for either Alabama or Tennessee. You realize that you could give a 3-hour speech based on the tradition and all the things you could use to motivate your players. They have so much to work with, so much to get that emotion flowing, and evidently Curry did a great job of it here at Alabama tonight. He got them out on the field, and they were ready to go, and they had this game in hand early, very early, probably in the late first quarter. They had the game in hand.
All right, a great game by my partner, Kevin Kiley. A final score, Alabama 41, Tennessee 22. Tennessee was unbeaten and ranked number 8 in the country coming in. They leave with that one loss now.